Hey, could you hear me? Write a little comment in the box. Can you hear my sound? Do I sound okay? Yeah. Oh, there you are.
All right, so
You're,
let me turn my thing,
yeah.
see what's going on here.
Get that.
All right.
All right.
Can you see me okay?
Yeah, I can see you have a little bit of headspace. I don't know if you could tilt the camera down a little bit more. Are you on a laptop or a phone or?
No, I'm on my phone. Is that
Okay,
better?
there you go. Perfect. That
Okay.
works.
All right.
That works.
I could maybe even move it closer if that helps. Well, let me just leave
Yeah.
it like that. Let me not mess with it. Is that enough light? I got my circle light. I
Oh,
might
you got
move it.
the circle light. Very nice.
Is that better? Lighting?
Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. You look that's right on.
All right, thanks.
Let's see. What is this? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, wrong one. Wrong camera. All right. There we go. So you can hear me good.
I
Everything's
can hear you
coming in
good.
that nice and loud. Good,
Yeah.
good, good.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I got you. It's great. It's great. I
Okay.
just want to make sure everything is. Now, when I do this, does it block my camera at all, or does it? You're good.
I'm
Can you
good.
still see me?
Yeah, I
Okay,
can see
good.
you.
All right. All right. I got my notes, my questions. I have 500 questions for you.
Well, no worries. I have wine, so I can answer
I've
any
been thinking
questions as
about.
long as I have wine.
That's it. That's it. So tonight, I had this opened, or not open, but I had this waiting, like just chilling. So I'm
Okay.
so excited to open this up.
Yeah,
So
I
and
know
share
Robin
that.
and Andrea. You had it before?
I haven't had that because of the liquor laws of where I'm at, and it's hard to get it. Like there's certain stores that will have it available,
Aren't you in
and I'll go.
California?
No,
Okay, where are you?
I am further up in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, I'm in Seattle.
Are you really?
Yeah,
I'm in the Portland.
in Portland?
Portland, yes.
Oh, okay. One
Yeah.
of my son lives in Portland.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's it's such a great community. I love it. I
He
love it.
he and his wife, they love it. He's what, 36 now, 37, one of them ages. But he left when he left for college, and you know, loved it, fell in love with the area, and after college he just stayed.
Yeah, it's just if you love the outdoors, you're gonna love this area. The weather, it's actually interesting coming from California to actually have weather and seasons. And so you have to adjust to that.
I
But
don't know.
it's
I want my warm weather. It's cold today. We scraped ice off of the windshield today.
yeah, yeah. We had that really interesting snowstorm that came in, and we had it for a good 3 days or 4 days, and it actually stopped bus lines and everything. It was
Yeah,
really interesting.
I was up here when it snowed. It was terrible.
Does, do, do people in Seattle know how to drive in snow?
You know, yes and no. Because see, people just think, especially like if you're from the Midwest or the East Coast,
Right,
they kind of just think, oh, it's snow, get over it. Well, the
right.
Pacific Northwest is hilly. And
Yeah.
like right now, I'm at my daughter's house. She's on a hill. There's no way in and there's no way out
Way
without
out.
coming up a hill. And so when
Right.
it snows, the roads are icy, but the hills are icy. And so now you're dealing with, should you go down there? In some areas, they actually just close the road. You can't even go down there. It's just like, no, you know.
Yeah.
So,
That was interesting because where we're at, we could actually see we're on a, if you go out our driveway, you actually enter a signal. It's within
mhm,
the first maybe 50 feet when you exit out of the driveway.
mhm.
And we saw people sliding down, especially when it started to ice up after the
Uh-huh.
storm, you know.
Yeah.
You get that it starts to melt and then it freezes, it gets, you know, it drops in temperature, but really interesting. Really interesting. Um,
Yeah, snow for skiing. I don't mind snow when I'm skiing. That's about it.
yeah. My wife says the same thing. She's like, I I love snow. I love to look at it in pictures, but to drive in it, no, no.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
Well, so I'm happy to be here today, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
have my wine.
What do you got?
So this is JBV, and it's short for Journey Between the Vines: The Black Winemaker Story. And
Oh
several
yeah,
years ago, several black winemakers came together to make a wine blend for me. And it is a Rhone blend, and the proceeds benefit the documentary that I'm working on that I'm hoping we can resume filming this summer. We had to shut it down, COVID. Can't have
right.
crew, can't risk crew or anything, anybody getting
Yeah.
sick. And so hopefully we'll resume back. But, you know, in the
How far
meantime,
along were you? How far along were you in the production?
we were probably about midway through.
Oh, okay.
And
All
so,
right.
you know, and I'm good. I'm not frustrated or anything. We're still fundraising. So if anyone wants to go on my website and click support the documentary, I will be appreciative.
Yes, remember that. You got to go on
Yeah,
our website and support that.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
for a great cause. Great cause.
yeah.
And also, I'm going to be drinking the McBride sisters. I posted it. I'm a dad, so I'm not technologically savvy. So I tried to do this post, and it came out. I don't know. It cut halfway into it, but anyway, I'm going to be drinking the McBride sisters Sauvignon Blanc. I'm so excited, and it's a beautiful
Okay.
bottle, and in honor of it being Women's
Yeah.
Day, International Women's Day, Happy Women's Day,
Thank you.
Marcy,
And happy
you know,
Women's Day to
all
all the
the
women that have joined so far.
absolutely everybody that's out there, my mom, my sister, my nieces, yourself, my beautiful wife, everybody. This is a day for you. I hope you got treated well. And
I did. I
I
just chilled. So
it just
answer this question for me, because I had
what's
this
that?
discussion. Someone, and he was a man, he said women just get everything. They're celebrated. There's Women's Month. You know, they get more attention Mother's Day than fathers do on Father's Day. You know, and we were actually talking, he was a winemaker, and he said, you know, a man working in the wine cellar, he has to do all the work. It's just assumed he can do this, he can do that. A woman working in the wine cellar, she's going to get men offering to help her, and she's not going to hardly have to do much labor. And so he was basically kind of saying women have it easy. And, you know, I don't, of course, I don't agree, but I
Well,
sure would love your take on that one.
I would actually say, and to all the women out there, you're smarter than us. You're smarter. Okay. So by saying something like that, you're actually making us feel more like overworked, but you do your part. You know, after I saw my wife in labor, and that no man could do any job like that. So my hats off. This glass of wine, and as you can see, I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I have my Princess Leia glass. So if you're a Star Wars fan
That
out
is
there, I hope
so
you dig it.
cool.
Yeah, we have my wife and I. We're big Star Wars, Harry Potter fans, and so when we had our engagement and our basically our engagement little get together with my family, I dressed up as Han Solo and she dressed up as Princess
Stop.
Leia. Yeah. So, but I love these glasses, and this wine smells unbelievable. Oh
Okay.
wow, honey, pineapple, like a lot of that tropical fruit. Well, it
Mhm.
comes from the Marlborough region of Australia, so you know what you're getting when you get
Yeah.
that.
Yep, I've had their wine.
Mm. Oh,
There's a
delicious.
little shake on your camera, maybe.
Is it?
Yeah,
Maybe. How's that now? Is that
that's
okay?
better. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I
Um,
was the only one that was seeing it.
so let me just do a little introduction here. Welcome to my podcast. This is Breaking Bread with LaBelle Voyage. Um, I am your host, Corey, and we have a special guest kicking off International Women's Day. Uh, and she needs no introduction for what she does. But I'm so glad and honored to have her here, especially on this day celebrating a day such as momentous as this. Marcia Jones, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you, Corey. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out and inviting me.
Yeah, no problem. You might hear a little noise in the background. I have a 2-year-old, and so he might be coming in and out. We're trying to keep him as calm as possible throughout this broadcast.
That didn't sound like a
he wants
girl.
he
That
wants to
sounds
be
like
on
a
camera
child.
too. Hey, but yeah, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited.
Mhm.
Um, and he wants to drink some wine.
Start them early.
But yeah, what I want to start off with, just share your story. Tell everybody out there who you are. If they haven't been introduced to you and know what you do, you're an amazing woman. So
Thank
please
you.
just share your
Thank you.
story. Yeah.
I'm Marcia Jones, and I am Urban Connoisseurs. I started Urban Connoisseurs in 2012. I wanted to do something after meeting a few of the Black winemakers, and I was at a point in my life where I was kind of transitioning. I was coming out of nonprofit work and just trying to decide what's my next step. And I had visited a few of the Black-owned wineries. The wines, all of them were amazing. One of them that I went to, actually the first one that I went to was Black Coyote, which is actually no longer in service, in business anymore. They were out of Napa. And then I visited
Hmm.
uh, Vision Cellars with Mac McDonald, who owned that one. And I came away from those two visits with such a love for their wines, but just as important, the hospitality. I just had
Right.
never experienced that. When I went to Black Coyote, actually, I took my two sisters with me. And when we went,
Hmm.
we had called ahead, told her we wanted to come. We made the appointment. We get there, she had set up a picnic table with a spread of cheese, crackers, fruits, and of course wine by the creek.
Oh yeah.
Nice sunny day. So we're sitting there talking about their wines, their history, eating, laughing, drinking, having such a good time. I loved it, and it was a beautiful day. We actually ended up staying longer. We thought we were going to be there for maybe an hour. We were there for 3 hours, just sitting and drinking, and then we left there and drove to Vision Cellars, and Mac McDonald welcomed up, he and his wife welcomed us in his home. And we get there, and he has set up a dinner spread at his
Wow.
dining room table. So we
That is
sat
awesome.
around there talking, drinking, eating. It was just such an amazing experience in fine wine and hospitality. So that's, I think, what did it. I walked away and I just felt like I want to do something. I don't know what, but I want to do something. And I played with some things. I had a wine club for a while. I had a podcast. I had Wine Talk with Marcy. I did
Hmm.
sales and marketing, and then I settled on doing events. And events, I found out, was just really my passion. I really love creating the wine experience. But I am bringing back the wine club. In fact, we just went live on the website today for the Herbal
Okay.
Connoisseurs Wine Club. I sent out
All
my
right.
newsletter, and I am getting so many responses. I just sent the newsletter out
Bravo.
like maybe
Nice.
an hour ago. And just so many people responded. I want to join. I want to join. I want to be a part of this. And so I'm really excited. The wine club is unique in that we're offering quarterly shipments, 4 different bottles, 4 different wines from 4 different Black winemakers every quarter. And we will never send you the same wine twice. And a lot of
I
people
like
have
that.
asked me, well, are there enough Black winemakers to do that? Yes, they are. There are enough. There are more than enough. I
Oh
probably
yeah.
won't even hit all of the winemakers in the first 2 years. And so I'm really excited about that. As I mentioned, I do events. I just finished doing the inaugural International Winemaker Summit. And that was
Okay.
amazing. That was amazing. I had always envisioned bringing both men and women together on one platform that all of them could share their stories. And we succeeded. It was a virtual summit.
Right.
We had 12 winemakers from 4 different countries. We had 5 sommeliers and 3 chefs, and the sessions were amazing. And all Black winemakers. So we had a winemaker from Canada, a winemaker from South Africa, a winemaker from France, and then the rest were, oh, see, Vintnor said it was an amazing event. The rest from the U.S. It exceeded even my ideas of what I thought it would be. I had an amazing media partner, and I learned I could not do that without her. Her name is Angela McCrae, and she's the founder of Uncorked and Cultured. But she's just an
Okay.
amazing media person. But we had different sessions, Corey. We had red wine sessions, rosé, and the rosé session was just so much fun. It
Oh yeah.
all men winemakers, and even the moderator, who was a sommelier, was a man. And so it was just so
That's
much
beautiful.
fun listening to these men talk about rosé. And I just feel like it just took away any kind of stereotype that people might have that think rosé is for women.
Oh
It
yeah.
yeah, no. And to hear these winemakers talk about They drink, Phil said, I drink pink and I can drink pink all day long.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing. We had a white wine session. We had a session entitled Master Blenders that just focused on the winemakers that did blends. And
And
then
what kind of blends were they going into? Were they going into more Rhone style, Bordeaux
nope,
style blends? Yeah.
everything. We had, Phil Long, who owns Longevity Wines. He actually does a Rhone blend. He does a Bordeaux. He actually has two Bordeaux blends. And then we had Raymond Smith, who owns Indigenous Cellars.
Hmm.
He's more of a Tuscan blend.
Okay.
And so we had, they talked about blends and how you blend and what you blend and how you do it. It was just really amazing. Then we had a session called Off the Beaten Path, the unusual suspects. And that was, varieties that you don't normally think about.
Right.
Sangiovese, Malbec, Barbera, Grenache.
Right.
Oftentimes people think Grenache is for blending, but
Yeah.
there's people who do just single varietals of Grenache. Theodora Lee, who owns Theopolis Vineyards, she makes a symphony.
Hmm.
And a lot of people aren't familiar with symphony because it's not widely grown, definitely in the U.S. and very limited in California. But it's a cross between my mind is Muscat of Alexandra and a Grenache Grise that
Wow.
Dr. Olmos actually made or created at UC Davis. And
Okay.
so
And for some of the viewers out there, so a lot like where are these vineyards coming from? What particular region are they? California and some Washington, or what particular regions are these vineyards
all
coming
over.
from?
So we had winemakers from California. We had Shay Frechette, who is the only Black winemaker from Washington State.
Okay.
I would have loved to have had a couple of the winemakers from Oregon. They just weren't available. But
Right.
then we had Steve Byfield, who is in Canada. He's in the kind of
Wow.
Niagara Falls area there, Niagara area. I can't think of that region off the top of my head. We had Tanashi, who owns Kamusha Wines, and he's in South Africa. And then we
Okay.
had Marie Inez Romel, who owns Marie César Champagne in France. So
Wow.
yes, that was kind of fun because she speaks French, and
Love that.
we coordinated with her translator to do all this. So it was really interesting. We had to do a couple of rehearsals, and she still had a little bit of technical difficulty, but I just applaud her because she joined in the evening. It was our daytime, and she joined in the evening. And that's just really indicative of how much some of these winemakers from other countries wanted to be a part of something like this. You
Wow.
know,
That just sounds like an amazing event, you
it
know.
was. And that's not even
It-
it. Sunday brunch. So it was Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday we did a toast to the bubblies. So we had the winemakers that made sparkling wine. And then I brought in the three chefs who created a brunch designed around the sparkling wine that they had tasted from the winemakers.
wow, that just sounds insane. Um, that is the one thing that is really awesome about all these wineries right now. And the amazing thing that I see is all the different interpretations, the progressive blends coming out of these vineyards, these wineries. It just makes wine more exciting. You
Yeah.
know, you have the traditional format with this progressive feel to it,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that the states actually do well. And the taste, you know, everything off the grid. It just sounds, even when you're bringing up rosés. Now, I always recommend rosés, hands down, as far as a more approachable wine to drink, and to pair with. Like, a lot of consumers, a lot of wine drinkers don't really go to rosé when they think of food pairings, and it's one of the best and most approachable. And now with, like I said, all the different interpretations of what rosé is bringing to the fold, it's awesome. Yeah. And one of the things that I wanted to announce for the viewers out there, if you have a question, go ahead and, whether it's to Marcy or I, you can go ahead right next to you. Don't put it in the comment box, but there's a little bubble right next there that has a little question mark. Go ahead and throw a question if you have one for either Marcy or I. We're willing to take questions. I don't take hard ones. She does. She'll take all the hard questions.
And I take the hard questions, and then I say, what do you think, Corey?
I was looking at all the things that you do, and the one thing that was really powerful, really gripping to me, is the mission statement that you have behind the Urban Connoisseurs. As far as the winemakers itself, the wine growing itself. Could you go a little bit more and explain on that?
Which part? The part about increasing the numbers of Black winemakers?
Yeah, just the overall mission statement. I think it's very powerful, the statement and what you're supporting, what you're really endorsing.
Well, of course, as you know, I'm supporting Black winemakers. It's just something. When I first experienced them, it was very clear that there's not a lot of us in the industry. And when I thought about how to increase that number, I felt like that comes from going after that next generation. And so in order to increase the numbers, you have to help the next generation. How do you help the next generation? You help them get through the education process. You become mentors. You provide internships for them. You get the message out there that this is a viable industry. This is a viable career path. And I think it's even challenging, and it could just be me, it is even challenging when you're talking about people of color, because we have traditionally been laborers.
Right.
And when this younger generation thinks of wine making, they think of labor. And they're tech people. They're click on their computer or on their phone. They're looking for the next big tech thing that somebody's going to buy. They're not thinking about becoming a winemaker. But I feel like there's this creative group out there that if you can get to them, and even some of the science geeks, Corey, and help them understand that winemaking is an art and a science. Right. It just seems like right now, when you hear the word STEM, it's almost like they forgot all the other letters in that word and just focus on tech. Right. But there's science, there's engineering, there's mechanics, and even tech. You can do all of that in the wine industry. And so it's up to us to teach them to do that. But I wanted to take it even further. So I created the Black Winemaker Scholarship Fund. And I didn't want to just give book money. I wanted to give something substantial. So we just reviewed the applicants that came in for the scholarship that is going to be awarded later this week. We're giving 2 $5,000 scholarships. And the recipients will also have an opportunity to apply again because we want to see them through. And I also want to build relationships with these institutions and then talk to some of these young people. The grant is only available for juniors and up. So you can go after your BS, your master's, or your PhD. But I realized in the reviewing of the applications that I needed to go after freshmen and sophomore. So we're going to start building some relationships with these institutions and talking to the freshmen and the sophomores and helping them see this is a wonderful industry to be a part of. And yes, if you're the winemaker, you're going to be doing some labor. I went through harvest season, and there is just no way to escape the labor. And it was so interesting because there were times when I was going through it that I had to say to myself, I'm not a laborer. I'm not a laborer. You know?
Right.
But at the same time, I had so much fun. It was just so much fun. And of course, easy for me to say because I was just doing it just to get the experience. And so it wasn't like it was my business. But I want to go after that younger generation and talk to them. And if we have to start creating, well, let me just say not if, we will create seminars just for that generation to talk to them. And when I say we, I am talking about winemakers, sommeliers, whatever it takes to talk to them, because I am a believer, you will be what you can see. So if we can go after these young people and they can see that this is not just a white male dominated industry.
Absolutely.
That you're in it and we're here to help you.
That's beautiful.
We're here to help you. And
that is so great because even as I was going through my education and the experience that I was getting in mentorship, I didn't have a lot of that support system. So, I think with everything that's going on right now, it's a good time because we're kind of at a lull and we can find a way to really push and push it to the next step. And what you're doing is, it's wonderful. I just saw a comment, fantastic. I mean, that is something that we need more of in this industry. I wish we had more support like that in the industry.
Corey, I wish I could give that scholarship to any and every student that said, yes, I want to, and I'm believing one day, right now, we're doing two 5,000, and that's good. I'm feeling really good about that. And we're going to do it again in the fall and then annually thereafter. So it's not a one and done. But I wish that I could do 4 or even 6. I wish we had that. And I think it can be achieved. So I'm not going to say that it's something that is not going to be attainable. But, it's going to take some work. It's going to take some hustle. It's going to have to get out there, take donations. The scholarship fund is managed by UNCF. And I chose UNCF because I felt like students just go to that website to look for money. And so, of course, we had a few applicants that really weren't qualified. And I guess they thought, I'm just going to try and see if I can get this money too. $5,000 for students trying to get through college is a lot for them.
Right.
We want to help them. I want to help them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And have you seen what is coming out of the program itself as far as, are they coming out and are they staying winemakers? Are they doing anything else in the industry?
Well, we just literally, this is new. And so we literally just awarded our very first scholarships. When I say just last week, we reviewed We had 24 applicants. We then narrowed it down to 10, and then we took the top 10 from that. And I basically submitted our choices to UNCF Friday afternoon. And so they're going to make the award announcement to the students this week and send the money to their institutions. So I'm excited. I'm really excited.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Yes, absolutely. And I see that you I know you were talking about your documentary, but also I saw that you also participate in a few like celebrations and organizations, nonprofit. You tell me about that too as well.
Which nonprofits?
Well, it seemed like maybe I wrote it down wrong, but it's that's my dad break. But I saw that you do celebrations in honor of men winemakers
Oh,
in
okay.
Miami
That's my company. That's Urban
yeah,
Connoisseurs. So
right.
I do pre-COVID. So hopefully when we get past this, because I don't want to do those virtually. I did a Women in Wine event in Florida, and I did that every year. And then I did a Men in Wine in San Francisco. And this is such a cool event. It is a course dinner. So yes, it's a course dinner. It's a 5-course, 6-course dinner. And what I do is I contact the winemakers and say, if you want your wine considered for this dinner, please send no more than 2 to 3 wines for review. And of course, the women send more. The men just send me what I ask for, you know. And so, and then myself and a sommelier sit down and review all the wines. And hats off to sommeliers because they are the bomb. They are the bomb. My sommelier, Raymond Scholes, who owns the Royal Vines, sits down with me, samples all of this wine. And when I'm talking we had like over 30 different wines that we are sitting there sampling, taking notes, sampling, taking a few more notes to where we finally narrow down to 5 or 6 wines. And then my sommelier, who is just so super amazing, creates a menu based off of each wine. And so he sits there and he takes that wine and he's like, this wine, it has these flavors and these notes, and this is what goes with that, what would just be amazing. And he does that and creates this menu. Then we take that menu and give it to chefs who have to know wine. So now these chefs are sampling the wines again with me, but just now they're just doing those 6. So they're not sampling all the other ones. And then they see the menu and then they get to put their own spin on it. But pretty much they stay with that menu. They just put their flair on it. So it is an amazing event. And each wine, is the menu, each dish is designed specifically for that wine. And it's so cool because even the winemakers have come back and said, I would have never thought to pair my wine with that food. But this Dom, he can take all the flavors, all the aromas, and just, down to what herb would go with it. It's just amazing. And so it's such an amazing experience. And the one that I do in Florida is actually on a yacht. So it's a dinner. I know. So we're cruising around the whole Miami Bay kind of thing,
Can I sneak in?
Well, you know what? When the world opens back up, we'll be back. So,
Oh yeah.
let's just hang tight. I know it won't be in 2021. I'm hoping
Right.
2022. And then I sell tickets and I sell VIP tickets. So the VIP ticket, you get a chance to have a seat at a table with a winemaker. And it just amazes me. The people who actually know some of the winemakers, they'll call me up, like especially for the women. They'll call me up. Is Theodore's table full? I got to have a seat at her table. And now these tables only seat 8 people, and at least one is for the winemaker. And so, but people they love that experience to sit with this winemaker because you get this extra special, I get to know this person just a little bit more, and they're going to talk a little bit more about their wine. So that
Right.
I can't do virtual. That's not going to be a virtual event.
Yeah,
We're
that's
just going to
tough.
have to sit
That
back and wait.
Yeah, Psalms and they're a lot of times they get kind of the bad rap. I always see it as
They think
if you
they're
have
like
a Psalm,
snooty, and they're not.
yeah,
They're really not.
yeah, and I think nowadays they've taken it up a notch and they become artists. You
Yeah.
know, and I see it in everything, whether you have a Psalm or a wine specialist itself. It is. I think they're changing the industry.
Yeah.
When I was going through the program, just the formal and informal instruction that I received, the one thing that kept on ringing in my ear was we have to be ambassadors for all.
Yeah.
You have to be ambassadors for all. You can't just be setting wine list for just this type of, people or whatever. These type of wine drinkers. You have to be an ambassador for all. And so I think more and more, especially the younger generation of somms and wine specialists that are coming up, I see a lot of people that are getting their wine set and they're just blowing the market wide open. And it's even the mentality. You're seeing more. I was just on a virtual meeting a few days ago, and the one thing that they were saying was, there's a lot of grapes that a lot of people know, and those are the grapes that shouldn't be put in the corner, and it's like they're really allowing the market to expand, and they're not just showcasing the same wines to drink. They're actually expanding people's horizons and palates.
Yeah.
And it's great. And that's the one thing that I really love about this period, this progression. I think more and more people are being mindful and they're thinking of how could I take it to the next step?
Yeah. I was on a Facebook, I don't know, live, whatever you call that stuff, the other day. And the sommelier was explaining some simple things that would go with a Zinfandel, a fortified wine, basically a port,
right.
Zinfandel one. And, everybody in the group was like, wow, I would have not thought to put that, all that food, but he just made it simple for us. He was just asking, right, you like blue cheese? You like this cheese? You like this cheese? What do you think about this cheese? So I want you to go get these cheeses. And then he talked about the different types of crackers. And then he talked about, prosciutto. And so I love how he did that. But at the same time, it was simple. It wasn't this overly complicated thing. And he said, and then take that and sit back and enjoy that and watch a movie and, and I love that about sommeliers because I think that right there helps to take that pretentiousness that some people, I never assumed that, but some people assume about sommeliers that they're just, oh my God, you could only, fine dining. You know what I'm saying? But no, I mean, I'll be honest. I wish I was dating a som because then I could be like, honey, what do you know? What should we do? I'm gonna go get this wine, and you tell me what is it? You know, people don't understand. That is like so cool to say I date a
That is awesome. I love that. I love that.
sommelier. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the industry and I think this is the time for creativity. We like I said, we've been kind of stagnant, and so we have time to brainstorm about how we want to proceed. And again, the somms, the wine specialists that are out there, the people that I've come in contact,
Mm-hmm.
especially I've done a lot of retail.
Hey,
And
Carrie.
what's that?
I just saw someone that I know.
Oh, and the to see the at the level of the retail, the consumer themselves,
Yeah.
how interested they are, even creating charcuterie boards and being
Yeah.
more creative with their cheeses and what they're pairing. I've seen things just off the grid, and it's beautiful,
Yeah.
because that is what wine is. It should be paired with a meal. You should just grab a burger. If you have a burger, grab a Bordeaux, grab a Malbec. Just drink it and have a good
now,
time.
Corey, I'm gonna stop you right there.
What's that?
You can on an occasion, in fact, more than an occasion, just drink wine.
Oh yeah, like we're doing right now.
Don't feel guilty if you didn't have dinner yet. I have not had dinner. I'll get to that later.
No, absolutely. Hey, with a 2-year-old, you need just a glass every now and then. You know, you need to have that. But yeah, I think the artistry and just the industry itself, from winemaking, and it's the whole industry itself. It's not just the winemaking process. It's the brewers, the distillers. Everything is changing. You're getting flavored vodkas and all these different things that are very progressive and very versatile that you haven't, to the traditionalists, it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
But to the new consumer, the microbrews and all these really cool brewmasters that are making these really fun and refined style, beers, it's taking the industry to the next level. And I'm hoping that responds to the whole range of the industry as a whole.
It really is. And I'm not a beer drinker. It just hasn't grabbed me. I wish I was, because my friends drag me to these events that, they do beer flights, just like wine flights.
Yeah.
And, we're sitting there. They're like, "Oh my God, Marcy, what do you think about this?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, tastes like beer," But there's just all these different flavors, and I love it because that's this generation that is saying, "Don't fence me in, don't box me in. I'm doing something different. I'm doing something new. I'm doing something exciting." And we have to embrace that because, trust me, I love a single variety and I love a good Cabernet. Don't get me wrong. I love a good Cabernet Sauvignon, but I love blends too. And I love Pinots. I love off the beaten path. I love Barbera. I love Carmenere. And a lot of times people haven't heard of these wines. I mean, Simeon. And so I feel like we have to be open. We just have to be open to experience new and different, something that you may not have heard about before. Give it a try. Don't say, I don't drink white wine, or I don't drink wine. When people tell me that, I tell them, you just haven't met a good wine.
Well, I think the one thing that is the real issue, especially since I've experienced it a lot on the retail level, what a lot of these businesses are doing is they're hitting a certain market. So they're not really looking for everybody to explore. They're looking for the money. And I was fortunate enough to actually work at a retailer that didn't have a planogram. And when I came in there, I said, if I'm going to come in here and do this for you, I'm going to restructure your whole wine section and beer
Wow.
section.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it for the consumer, and I'm going to I'm going to have people explore it rather than just not make, and you'll make your money,
Yeah.
and you'll make more money because people are going to grab more. And that is the thing is we tend to be restricted when we go and it gets pushed into us this way. But I think a lot of us now are trying to really push the open market.
Okay.
Like you said, explore all these grapes that a lot of consumers or wine drinkers or beer drinkers haven't had, like Carmenere, like
Yeah.
Grenache, Tempranillo, Barbera, you know, you a lot of consumers don't, especially old world wines like
Yeah.
France, Italy, Spain, they tend to kind of veer off it because they don't understand the label. But I think it's up to us now to introduce it. And I think here in the States, with having a lot of the climate to
Yeah.
produce these beautiful varietals is an amazing thing, and we could showcase it. We have it in California and Oregon and Washington, and we're doing it well.
Yeah. What's the best planogram you have ever done?
It was funny because everybody, the one retailer that I was working for, he had his Pinots first because he said, oh, they would just come in the shop for the Pinots. But what I did is I said shop through history. So I put Old World first.
Okay.
And I said discover where Pinot came from, and I put Burgundy.
Oh.
And I basically started, Chablis, where Chardonnay came from, and started going down the line. And it actually slowed down if we started to study the way people were walking through the section, they were slowing down and starting to look and grabbing more unique bottles rather than the same, mainstream bottles. So that was the one thing that I was very lucky to do, and I think that was probably my best planogram because it really allowed, I got a lot of feedback as far as the drinkers saying, hey, I never would have picked up this bottle.
Wow.
If I didn't know, I just kept on shopping and grabbing my to go. And that's what a lot of consumers do. They want to just grab and go, but there's a lot of drinkers that want to discover. And so I always tell the consumer, the wine drinker themselves, hey, if you love history, if you love reading novels, these are novels. These are the Bibles of wine. You're gonna discover it, and then you're gonna actually appreciate when you get down to California and Oregon because you're gonna see where they came from. These are the forefathers right here, and that gave a huge appreciation to the drinkers themselves, and it gave them a better understanding of what that wine is, what's in their glass, and started identifying more, and I think that was the best thing that I could have done was have that planogram, be non-formatted and just kind of just do what I thought was going to work, and it worked. I was happy. Where would you like to see the wine industry go? As we're celebrating, International Women's Day as a Black woman, where would you want the wine industry to go?
Balance. I want to see the balance. If you're in a community, if you're a retailer, and 50% of your customers are women, then have 50% of your wines be from women winemakers.
There you go. I love that.
30% of your customers are Black or Asian or Hispanic, then have that balance in your shop. That's really what I want to see. I don't want to, that's just like, let me just give you this kind of example. I don't want to go to the store and I buy a hair product for my hair, and the only people on that shelf that make hair products are white manufacturers.
Right.
I want to see some black manufacturers that make
Right.
products for my hair. I want to see that same thing in the wine industry. Just balance. I'm not saying we have to be the majority, but if ever I slow down and open up a wine shop, I'm gonna tell you right now, it might just be only black owned wines, you know. But I want to see balance, and I just think
Right.
that's fair. I don't even think that that's asking a lot,
Right.
you
No,
know.
I totally agree with that. I think, we need more independence in our wine sections, whether it's a grocery store,
Yeah,
retailer. I think there needs to be some more creativeness instead of just planograms,
yeah,
and more representation. Like you said, I think it's important, for me to find out. I've been involved in the wine industry for quite a long time, and to discover how many black-owned wineries they were, or distillers, or Hispanic-owned wineries that weren't on the shelf, and I was thinking, this is crazy. How is this not represented? I mean, these are beautiful wineries, and they should be showcased. They should be tasted. They should be celebrated, and I don't see enough of that. And I totally agree with that, and I love what you said about that.
yeah, yeah. I just don't think
Well,
that's asking too much. That's not asking a lot, you know.
yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and I think, like I said, I think, and the ties with this industry, how the market is just exploded, and there's so much versatility, there's so much selection,
Yeah.
and I think we need to open that up and be less restrictive. You
Corey,
know,
I think people would be surprised how many Hispanic winemakers there are. We have the assumption that, you know, Mexican, they're only the laborers. They're only the
right,
ones that you see in harvest season, or they're out there, you know what I'm saying, in the vineyard. They're the workers.
right,
There are some amazing Mexican wine makers. There's even a Korean winemaker in Oregon,
yeah,
you know, and I think there's someone else, but there's a Native American winemaker in California. You know,
right,
we have to expand our mind and not think that it's just one group that's making wines, you know.
right,
Uh,
yes. I,
and they make
I, I
amazing wines. They make
right.
amazing wines.
I totally agree with you on that, and I totally support that, and embrace that and celebrate that. And that was one of the things with, as far as my own mentality, and how I can what I could do
Hmm.
as a Latino father, trying to figure things out, especially during COVID. We're trying to be safe and social distance, and how are we going to provide for our son, our son's future, and what are we going to do? What kind of examples are we going to set?
Hmm.
And to me, this is one of the things that really hit me, is what we were talking about, is how many of these wineries, and they're family owned wineries. They've been around for quite a long time. It's not
Yeah.
just they're new. They've been around for a while, and how we now should be starting to go, hey, I want to go to that winery. And one of the things I always say, as as an ambassador to the industry, one of the things I try to say to the drinker or the customer, I always say, hey, try to go to the smaller wineries,
Yeah.
because you're going to get the better service.
You
You're
really
going to get
are.
you're going to get better service, just like what you're saying with the smaller boutique,
Yeah.
but you're also going to get the more unique styles.
Yeah.
Marcy, we are almost out of time, and I
Okay.
think